Hey everybody, what's up y'all? Welcome back to my channel. Tammy Talks here. Let's go ahead and talk, and just like that, season 1 episode 10, Seeing the Light. So for those of you that are brand new to my channel, I do breakdowns of various TV shows mixed in with my own thoughts, opinions, theories, and all that good stuff into each episode. So if you enjoy that type of content, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, thumbs up the video, and hop into the comment section. Let's talk about the season finale, all right? So it starts off with Carrie being at the podcast with Che and Jackie. I feel like that's the name, Jackie. So they're talking about their worst breakups. They're giving stories. Jackie got broken up over text. Che has gotten broken up on FaceTime. Carrie, once again, brings up that she had the ultimate breakup, which was Big dying on her. And they're all like, yeah, that is the ultimate breakup. I'm going to say this. If the show comes back for a season 2, which more than likely it will, I don't want to hear about Big dying every episode. I just don't. I do not want to hear about Big dying every single episode. Maybe that's just me, but this is it, Carrie. This is it, girl. This is it. So she then goes on another date with Peter. She's been trying to make it work with this teacher, and I think it's more so not her even really being attracted to him or even really liking him. It's more so you have to put that first foot out there. Once you get out there yourself for the first time, then it'll start to get easier for her. So they're walking home after the date, and he's like, we didn't throw up, we didn't, do anything, like we made it through. He tells her that he Googled her, and that he found out that she is a New York Times best-selling author. And she was like, no, that's a different Carrie Bradshaw. That's not me. And he kind of asks, is it weird? Peter, no, it's not weird. You should be Googling and C-capping and all that other stuff, everybody that you go out and date, because people are weird nowadays. So she tells him that it's not weird. And she basically Googled him, and he was, 2000, either 8 or 18's Teacher of the Year in New York. So, we looked each other up. It's cool. Don't even worry about it. So they get in front of her brownstone, and he tells her that he wants to kiss her. They kiss, and you can tell that Carrie wasn't really into it. She didn't really feel a spark. So she calls Seema, who was having a cigarette, and got her little boy toy right here with her. And Carrie is telling her how she kissed this guy, but it was really just two lips coming together. There was no spark. There was no attraction, there was no feeling, there was no nothing with it. It was literally just a kiss. Seema is kissing her guy, and Carrie was like, yep, that's how a kiss is supposed to sound and feel. So Seema gets off the phone because she's ready to go have sex, and Carrie decides to go to sleep for the night. So she turns off this reading lamp that's over her bed, and as soon as she lays down, the lamp clicks back on. So she's kind of like, okay. So she keeps getting off, turning it off, and it keeps popping back on. She feels that it's a sign from Big, which I would think that's a sign too. I mean, you got him in your closet. So she goes to lunch the next day with Charlotte and Miranda, and she tells them that she kissed Peter, and now she thinks that Big is mad at her and is sending a message via her lamp. Charlotte is like, no, he's not up in heaven doing that. Miranda was like, heaven? Heaven? You believe in heaven? And Carrie kind of tells her, look, girl, my husband died. If I want to imagine him sitting up in heaven, smoking a cigar, chilling on the big cloud, that's what I'm going to do. And I feel like I've always liked Miranda's character, but Miranda is also the type of person that if you don't agree with something, that if you don't feel the way that she feels about something, she be judging the F out of you. So Miranda is like, oh, so now we believe in the Easter Bunny. And it's like, girl, stop it. You know Charlotte believes in heaven. She's converted. So Miranda tells Carrie that if there's no heaven, you are just feeling guilt. Carrie feels guilty for kind of moving on with her life. So then she blurts out that she's going to meet Che's family. And they were like, okay, good. Carrie deep down has a problem with what Miranda is doing, but she's going to be the supportive friend and not really say anything about it. But you can tell that Carrie, I don't know if it's because it's like her boss or the way that Miranda's going about it, but Carrie has a problem with this. So Charlotte is like excited, and then Charlotte blurts out that they found a trans rabbi for Rock's they mitzvah. So they're all like, okay, this is going to be great. Show y'all. So we see Carrie text Samantha about the kiss. And Miranda, I'm sorry, she texts Samantha about the kiss. And Samantha is always giving like these one word, like quick, headline, like tweet text back to her. And it's always like, your first of many. That's you, my finest moment. Like, they're very Samantha, but it's just weird to like constantly see her text her, and she seems to be the only one that ever tries to contact her. We never get a moment where Miranda is texting her. We never even get a moment where Charlotte is texting her. It's kind of weird how they just don't like make it a group chat. They should have had a group chat, and then we can at least see the other two ladies in there talking. But maybe because Miranda and Charlotte weren't as close to Samantha as Carrie was. So Carrie takes the lamp to get fixed and tells the guy, like, this is weird, right? Because Carrie really wants to believe that it is big contacting her from beyond, and she wants it to be a sign. So in her mind, it's like, if I convince myself that the lamp is perfectly fine and that it is just him doing it, then I'll know that this is a sign from him. So Anthony is over at Charlotte's house, and he brings over a new challah, and he said it's a sourdough. And Harry was like, we got to have something that is authentic and traditional for, the older Jews that are going to be there. So they decide they're going to have two challahs, the traditional one and then the sourdough one for, Rock's friends and all that type of stuff. So the rabbi comes in, trans rabbi, and they tell Charlotte and Harry, look, this is going to be a mess. She's not ready. She don't know her lines. This is not going to work. So Harry kind of realizes that it's not that the rabbis were couldn't do it. It's that they were quitting because Rock is just not ready. So Anthony goes up in there and was like, look, girl, you got to learn these lines. Because you're the star of this show. No one's going to come in and save you afterwards. Because the rabbi offered to, like, why don't we do it in English? And they were like, no, absolutely not. We'll not be doing it in English. That doesn't even make sense. So we have Miranda and Che. So she's going to be meeting her family. But she gets to a club and she's like, I thought I was meeting your family. Che is like, no, you totally are. She meets her grandmothers in this club. So everybody's confused. And Che goes up and gets on the mic and was like, I'm not going to do a joke. I'm not going to do a stand-up routine. This is going to be way more cringy. So Miranda's looking at her grandmother's like, what is going on? Do you know what's going on? What's going on? Nobody knows. Girl, Che starts singing a song about going to California and then announces she is going to California. Hollywood wants to do a pilot, so she's going to be getting her own show or pitching her own show via pilot. Miranda looks like shocked and kind of scared that this is the end of their relationship because she didn't know anything about it. So afterwards, Che tells her that she'll be there for about a month. She's leaving on Saturday, and she wanted to tell her, more on a more personal level, but she just didn't have time. Miranda said, but girl, you had time to put together all this. You had time to practice a song and get a band together. Che admits that she probably should have told her on a more one-to-one personal level, but then says that she wanted her to find out in the room with all her friends and family, whatever. We then see her ask Miranda to go to LA with her. She's like, of course I want you to come. Miranda, dumbass, about to go. So we get the next scene where Che is quitting the podcast because she's moving. Jackie is like thinking that it's like a stand-up bit, and Carrie was like, darn, Carrie's rich and Carrie can get something going on her own, so she don't really care. Not for real. So Miranda goes to Nia's office and she wants to let her know that she's going to LA. So she's going to be finishing the rest of the semester remote wise. And Nia was like, cool, what are you going for? And she tells her she's going with Che. You know, she's in love, she wants to follow her. Nia kind of asked her, girl, well, what about this internship that is like super hard to get into? I wrote you this amazing letter of recommendation. Miranda feels that she needs to follow her heart. Nia was kind of like, damn, because her husband has decided to go back on the road. You know, he's in a band or he's like an artist or something. And basically, they're on the road to a divorce because he really wants kids. She does not want to keep trying. She's not open to any other alternate. She doesn't want to surrogate. She doesn't want to adopt. Like, so she's just kind of over the process in the moment. So she's like, just feels like they're blowing up their marriage over a baby they haven't even met yet. So she was planning on like hanging out with Miranda, you know, because she won't have anybody there to really hang out with, and they've become friends. So she just like, she's all for it, tells Miranda, you know, go do what you need to do, but I'll miss you on some, you know, I support you, but couldn't be me type stuff. So we see Carrie is meeting with Big's brother, and he asked, where is John? I said, I know this man ain't got ain't got dementia. And so Carrie is like, Lord, he died. He was like, I know. I don't have dementia, girl. Where is he? Where are the ashes? So she tells him, oh, I have him in my closet until I figure out what to do with him. He tells her that they have a family crypt in Connecticut. And their mother's there, their father's there, there's room for John, there's room for him. And since him and his wife are splitting, there's even room for Carrie. And I said, there should be way more room because John was cremated. So, like, you're not putting a casket in there. So, there should be tons of room. If you're just going to put the urn in there. But she tells him she needs to think about it. She really wants to put John where he would be the most happy. So he tells her it's been a year. She's like, I know. And we know too because she brings it up every chance she gets. So Carrie then goes to Jackie's party, which ends up being a surprise wedding. The producer from their podcast comes and tells Carrie that, you know, she's great with the way that she connects with people, the way she talks to people and engages with them, gives advice, and he would love to produce a podcast for her on her own. So Carrie is eventually going to get her own podcast, which is kind of weird that wasn't the basis of the show altogether anyways. So then we get to Rock's Day Mitzvah. So Carrie tells Charlotte and Miranda that Big came to her in a dream because she does have this dream when she goes to sleep that night where it's like all these super fast scenes of her in Paris, her on the bridge, the song that her and Big used to play. And Big was actually supposed to be in this episode, but because of the sexual assault allegations against him, they cut him out. But he was supposed to like be in that scene with her. So she tells them Big came to her in a dream, and she has decided to spread his ashes on what they call their bridge over in Paris. And she wants them to go with her for 3 days. It's her treat. She'll pay for everything. And Charlotte is like, yeah, I can go for 3 days. Miranda is like, let me check my schedule, but I got you. You know, that's what friends are for. So meanwhile, in the back, Rock doesn't want to come out for the ceremony. So Miranda is talking to Carrie and tells her that she'll be able to go after checking her schedule. She's going to fly out to Paris from LA. Carrie said, why would you be in LA? And she tells her, well, I'm going with Che because she's going to be doing her show out there. So I can do this for you guys, though. And Carrie tells her, girl, that's a 14-hour flight. No, you cannot do that. Miranda is like, I can make it work for the both of us. I can be there for you. I can be there for Che. And then it turns into this, like, not argument, but this conversation where Carrie is like, what about your internship that was super hard? What do you do? Like, what are you going to be doing over there? Miranda feels like Carrie is judging her, and Carrie is. She is judging her. But I think Carrie's also asking some very valid questions. Miranda feels, however, that she's allowed to change. And if she wants to break away from her rigid, straight by the book life, then she should be allowed to do so. And that's just kind of what it is. So then we go back over to Rock, who says now she doesn't want to be labeled as anything. She doesn't want to be a boy. She doesn't want to be a girl. She doesn't want to be non-binary. She doesn't want to be a Jew. She doesn't want to be a New Yorker. She just wants to be a 13-year-old kid. So then Harry was like, all right then, like, it's kind of over. I did laugh when she said she didn't want to be a New Yorker. How they both were like, because, New Yorkers take being from New York very serious. So Charlotte comes out, goes up to LTW, and it's like in tears. I don't know what to do. LTW, Lisa tells her, basically go out there and put that little girl in her place. Like, basically gives her some black woman advice. Go out there and handle it. Like, you're in charge. So Charlotte goes back and tells Rock, we done came all this way. We done paid for all this stuff. You've been studying. You've been doing this, that, and the other. Oh, this is going to happen, bruh. So she puts her foot down, and then we see that Rock does go through with the ceremony. Afterwards, Carrie, Charlotte, and Miranda are talking, and Carrie has told them she decided to go to Paris by herself. It's something that she needs to do. They have carried her along the way so far, and now it's at a point where I need to finish this up and do this on my own. So we get to the end of the episode, and Miranda and Brady are both coming out of their brownstone. Brady's going backpacking in Europe with his girlfriend, and Miranda is headed to LA. Miranda has dyed her hair back red. It took 10 episodes for her to get this red hair back. It just makes her, like, Cynthia doesn't look bad with the silver hair, the gray hair, but they just made Miranda look so disheveled. I think this looks good. This red hair looks really, really good. So then we see Carrie is going to spread Big's ashes. And while she's on the bridge, she gets these like flashbacks and hears his voice. Again, he was supposed to be in the scene, but because of, in light of the allegations, he was cut. So she texts Samantha, and I'm so sick of her texting Samantha, and Samantha like not wanting to talk or do anything with her. But she texts Samantha saying, I'm in Paris, would you like to grab a drink? Samantha tells her, how about tomorrow? It kind of leaves the door open for Samantha to come back to the show, which I do not think is going to happen, but it leaves it open. And then we finally see Carrie she's working on her new podcast, which is called Sex and the City. And then at the end, she is in the elevator kissing a producer. So here's the thing. Carrie should have had a podcast the entire episode. The entire series. Season. Yeah, there'll be a season 2, so I'm going to say season. If she would have had this podcast, it would have given them so much. It would have given them so much more material and just kind of a better storyline. We saw Carrie just kind of floating through, like, Carrie really didn't have a storyline outside of my husband died. My husband died. My husband died. That's all we ever heard. So I hope season 2 comes. I would love to see Carrie become like this big podcaster. I was going to say podcast mogul. But I would love to see Carrie become this huge podcaster. Maybe we can give Charlotte a storyline that doesn't involve her kids, or, chasing after LTW. Like, there's so much they can do with the season 2. And then I hope everybody that complained about the show every single episode just doesn't come back and watch it. But I think season 2 will get more into what the actual series was about, because I feel like they'll be settled now. We won't be trying to get over this big tragedy, and we can make things work in a more Sex and the City type way. But if you enjoyed the recap, let me know down in the comments how you felt about it. Thumbs up the video. Let's talk about this season finale. How do you feel about it? What did you like? How did you feel about the season overall? Do you think there will be a season 2? Will you watch a season 2? Catch you guys in the next one.